Heyo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another Coaster Spotlight Contest Edition. Today we're going to be looking at likely the biggest coaster in the competition with two Dueling exploration coasters. So stay tuned and let's check them out. Alright, welcome back everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. We're gonna jump right on into things with Freddy versus Jason, created by LukeWarz V. And here they say, let's go, Johnny. My first ever submission to the channel is what I believe to be an epic creation between two of the most iconic killers ever. In these coasters, you will watch as Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees battle back and forth between their worlds of Freddy's dream state and Jason's killing grounds of Crystal Lake. Throughout the submission includes building scenes, kills, and Easter eggs from both franchises, as well as the 2003 crossover Freddy vs. Jason. Note that I have media files in the description that I need you to download. Oh crap. Okay, well thank you for reminding me. If unfair with the films, I highly recommend taking a look at these images for reference if you're going to see. They sent me a picture. Okay, a bunch of pictures. All-right, I have to reload everything. So let me get these files and I'll see you guys in a sec. And we are back, ready to go. Here we are at the park entrance-ish. Here we go. I have the media files. This freaking creation looks massive. Definitely took the whole 2 months to build this. Now, I am familiar with the Freddy series as well as the Jason. My sister made me watch them when I was just a wee little kid. I know, terrible thing to do with your younger brother, but I've definitely seen more of the Friday the 13th than the Jason shows. I wasn't a big fan of Jason. All the mindless killing and the chainsaw in the woods, all the running and tripping over logs and screaming, just wasn't my thing. But I definitely like the Freddy because there's a little bit cool stuff with the nightmares and all that. Stay up latte. Stay up late? I like it. So, I might not be able to catch all the references. He did send me some images and stuff, but there it is for the most part. You guys can see it. If you're a big fan of the series, then you'll be able to notice this stuff. Let's head on down here. So yeah, as you guys saw from the B-roll, or what you saw of it, this is huge. He basically used the entire map to build all of this. Quite impressive, if I must say. So let's get in queue. We're gonna start with Freddy, I guess. Where was that? This is the queue, right? Oh. In some sort of boiler room here? Do we have to pass through the wall? What is... Oh. We go through here? Oh. Alright. Freddy! Green across the board. It's in test mode? I'll just fast forward it here. 3,100 meters of track. Definitely the biggest coaster in the contest by far. Wowee. Barcast. Oh, here we go. Let's get on this. We're gonna do a seat view. Okay, here we go. Wowee, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy, that's quite incredible. The dueling elements were so good. How do we get to the Jason coaster? Seems like it's over here. Okay, so we come in from, I don't even know where we come in from. I think we come in from the lakeside. Here we go. If I follow this route, I should get there. So yeah, the dueling elements were so good that we didn't even need like a chase view or a cinematic or anything like that. They were competitive. One was pulling ahead of the other. It was crossing over, coming at each other. Some of definitely the best elements that we've seen throughout the contest so far, with the longest coaster track between the two. Really incredible stuff. And I have to say, I appreciate the fact that you were about to incinerate us and you turned the fire off. In terms of like guest immersion and all that, like we didn't get incinerated, and I appreciate that. So I like the use of triggered events on this coaster. Let's check out the Jason coaster. I'm wondering what's gonna separate them from being similar. We're gonna have to wait and see. So it's another Barcast, similar stats across the board, and I'll cut to it when it's ready. Okay, so while I did say I don't think we need to do a different view, I do think I kind of regret doing that one in first person, simply because I do think that they did feel similar. I mean, they're competitive the whole way through in such a way that we're going through the same areas and experiencing the same things, but from different angles. So they are very similar. They don't diverge. They don't do their own thing at any point. So it would have been better to check that one out in an orbit view. With that said, we have one taking off here, which is the Freddy, and I do want to see it in orbit view because while there were some really good dueling elements, and I said you didn't need to do that, there was some like high five moments and parts where I could feel, almost sense that like Jason was on my tail or vice versa. So I want to do an orbit view and pay attention closely at all the dueling elements. So we're going to go on Freddy here. We're going to switch it over to orbit, and we're going to focus on the dueling elements. Okay, so I do think there were some elements where they did slip away from each other and kind of did their own thing. In those cases, I do kind of feel like maybe they should have been more heavily themed towards Amityville versus whatever the lake was called. But there were some elements there that they slipped away. I do think as we watched that, there were the most dueling elements throughout all of the creations in the contest so far. But does that have to do with the fact that it's 3,000 meters long and there's more opportunities for them to duel? However, there was no length requirement or no length restriction on how long you want your coaster to be. With that being said, it definitely has the most dueling elements because of the length. If we just looked at the coaster for what it was in this section, there were a lot of dueling elements, or even just this section, or even this section, or this one. Each one of these has as many dueling elements, if not more, than a lot of the creations in their own areas. It was very competitive, back and forth. They were catching up to each other, turning around, coming at each other. So I do have to say I am quite impressed. Now, in terms of verses, we see Freddy versus Jason everywhere. We see elements of the lake, Amityville, and all that stuff. So I do think it has a lot of theming. Were the coasters very distinct? They did feel kind of similar, didn't they? But then again, that's a tricky thing to do. I've always thought when I did this contest, how are people going to separate their coasters to make them feel different? Because if they're always battling, they're going to feel very similar in terms of what you're seeing in front of you, what you're passing by on your left and right. They're going to be very much the same. And the only way to separate the said theming is to have them go off on their own and come back. So maybe at some point, because your coaster is so long, it would have been nice if you had reserved maybe 500 meters to 1,000 meters of that track to have them do their own thing. Maybe the lakeside stuff is more of a Jason thing and Freddy passes through some sort of nightmare. Something that's very iconic to the said characters would have been nice to see them have like, 30 seconds of their own experience that's very unique to them. Somewhere in the middle, I would say. Or tiny hits of elements. But I think you did have those hits because you have this Cobra roll that goes up around the bus inside of the nightmare. And I'm pretty sure that is an iconic Freddy scene, if I'm not mistaken. So I do think you have these like subtle separations. How much of that is paramount is really up to the viewers and the voters. Nonetheless, I think this is a phenomenal creation. You've utilized basically the entire park. You've made 2 3,000 meter coasters, so a total of 6,000 meters of coaster, which is by far probably bigger than the biggest exploration coaster in our previous contest. So extremely impressive considering how smooth these coasters were, how fun the coasters were, and how competitive they were the whole way through. It is a marvelous creation. It is something to definitely awe over. So for me, this is definitely a top competitor in this bracket, regardless of how little personal theming was done per coaster, because throughout the whole thing, we're switching between Jason and Freddy, crossing between worlds, and I think that still counts. I still think that counts as personal theming, where they're just going through each other's worlds together. But the weight of that personalized experience is really up to the voters once again. So I'm really curious to see where this one lands inside of the builder bracket in terms of voting, but I definitely think it deserves somewhere in the top 5 personally, because of all the effort gone into all these sections, all the theming, as well as the competitiveness. It has the spirit of the contest. These are probably the most competitive dueling coasters for the amount of time that they were dueling that I've ever seen on the channel. That deserves some sort of award. So what did you guys think? Leave your comments down below. We are getting through we're over halfway through the builder bracket. So in the next few days, we should be able to vote soon. Did this one leave an impression on you? Are you going to vote for it? Leave your comments down below for LukeWarz' very first creation. Again, an outstanding creation for your first creation. Absolutely amazing. Can't wait to see more creations from this builder in the future. And yeah, that's going to do it for me in today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, share it with your friends on social media, and we'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.